The album title is Skyscraper, and a skyscraper, of course, the most obvious meaning is the buildings, the tall, the glass, the steel, the smell of the city. That's modern times, and that's very much a part of our music today. This is kind of rock and roll. And a skyscraper is also something that scrapes or touches the sky. That means somebody who's flying, somebody who has no roof or no limits over their head, which is also a very rock and roll kind of a sentiment. And the album cover ties right in with Skyscraper because, you know, climbing is something that I do that it's the closest to flying that I think I could ever get, you know. And also, like on the album cover, when you see climbing on a vertical wall like that, that's very much like rock and roll in that it's either straight up or straight down. Well, I produced it with my trusty co-producer, co-pilot, Steve Vai, and we did it in some 6, 7 different studios here in Los Angeles. You know, every studio has its own sound. One is really great for the big drum sound, one is really great for the big guitar sound, one's really good for the big vocal sound. Hey, are you noticing a pattern here? So we wound our way through all the different studios because each one has a little something different to offer, as well as we'll be producing well into the future, and we thought, well, now we'll take the time to do a little research and see what kind of recording studios Los Angeles really has to offer. Well, what kind of recording studios does Japan have to offer? There are no cover songs on the new album. It's all original stuff. And we have a number of people writing here. We have our keyboard player who was on the road with us last season. His name is Brett Tuggle. Tug, we call him. Tug wrote 3 of the tunes with me. Steve, of course, Mr. Screamin' Steve Vai, did 4, maybe 5 songs I wrote with him. And actually, Greg and our new bass player, Matt Bissonette, contributed a song. The very first one on the album, Knucklebones. Bread. The album cover was just something, again, like Eat 'em and Smile was, or Crazy from the Heat was, where we have the pictures laying around and pictures like that laying around, and we're always talking about it, and you start to think, well, what can we do for the album cover? Albums are very much like a part of your home scrapbook, a very technicolor scrapbook, but that's how I always saw album covers. So this is just the latest installment of The World According to Dave, I guess. Red, blue, not just blue. Sure. We have a new bass player. His name is Matt Bissonette, and it makes for the perfect rhythm section. 2 brothers. That sounds familiar, huh? And he writes, and the show is just going to be great. We've been in the basement now for several months, same basement we've been in for years, and it's going to be spectacular. The split with Billy was very happy. It was, you know, my decision, and we talked about it. Billy is a good bass player, and he's going to go on to do great rock and roll in the future, as so shall we. The new stage is exactly like the music sounds. This music is explosive. This music is expansive. It covers a wide amount of territory, and so the stage has to do the same thing. Rather than cramp it into something and say that this is minimalism, I would rather explode it to the edges and call it maximalism. So when you get the colors, it's not so much that we depend on pyro or strobes or very specialized lighting, but when it turns red, it turns red. And when it turns blue, it's blue, not just blue. You understand what I'm trying to say? Well, there are certain songs by various artists, you know, The Jungle by Guns N' Roses. What does you want? Yes, Japan, we're on our way. It's been a few years, and this time we're really going to do it. Thank you very much for all your support on the last record, and we ain't going to let you down on this one.